What's up, film fam, and welcome to the Film Room Podcast. My name's Dion,
My name is Scott.
and today we're doing The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And if you're new to the podcast, what we usually do is we start off by giving our general thoughts. We listen back to our film family from on Instagram, Reddit, and all over the internet. And then we also give our deep dive thoughts on the movie. And to close it off, we have our own award show called The Filmmies, where we give out 6 awards to the movie we just watched. But before we get into that, we have to get into our general thoughts.
General
General
thoughts.
thoughts. So, Scott, that being said, what were your general thoughts on The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Have you seen this movie before?
No, this is my
No?
first
Okay.
time watching it, so I came in with pretty high expectations, to be honest. Like it's one David Fincher. I'm a fan of his, so I had high expectations from that. It's a story that I know is very popular. I didn't know it was actually like 3 books. Like it's a trilogy, and this is just the first one. But I've heard so much about it before. And I really liked it. I thought, it's got the Fincher's like signature like dark feel. He likes that dark serial killer type stuff. It's got a great mystery. There was some specific stuff like names of people and like their relations to other people. Like, oh, this is my cousin and that's my uncle and he's a Nazi. And then, she doesn't talk to her. And like, so all that stuff was a little bit tough to follow, but big picture, I thought it was done pretty well. So you could follow the mystery. And I think that would actually make it pretty rewatchable. Like I said, this is my first time watching it, but I imagine like from rewatches, like you just, okay, I understand a little bit more of the family dynamics. And when they see this clue, I understand how that leads to this a little bit better. Like stuff like that, I imagine would be pretty rewatchable. But for me on the first time, like I really enjoyed it.
Okay, that's good. This is actually my first time watching it too. And
Okay,
I'm
nice.
kind of known as the Fincher guy, which I don't know why I thought that I'd seen it before, but as the movie was going on, I was like, no, I've definitely never seen this movie before.
Oh, okay.
And I watched it for the first time, like as we were recording. I watched it for the first time 2 days ago. And my initial thought when I first watched this movie was like, okay, it's good, but it wasn't great for me. And I wouldn't rank it high on Fincher's films as far as like whereas I rank some of his favorite movies for me. But in the one day in between before we started recording this, it grew on me
Mm-hmm.
as I was just kind of thinking about it more because I think that is a thing, like the right out the
Absolutely.
theater thoughts are a little different than as the movie sits with you for a little bit and you to think about it more. And I definitely think I enjoyed it more as like that little day in between. But I think there's like that was part of my thing that I was kind of like iffy on was just kind of like I like the setup in the sense of like the mystery that is involved with this 40-year mystery, but there is some elements of it that I do think it was like made it a little hard to follow with all the moving pieces and stuff like that. But again, it's a mystery. So as you're going through, I'm like, okay, this will make a little more sense.
Right.
But there is just a lot going on where you're trying to like, okay, how does this connect? Like, is this going to come around? Like, you almost kind of lose track of the characters and like, it's not, which in a good way, where it's not like the spoon fed thing of like, here's this character, here's their motive, and here's their alibi, where it's like, it's not like that type of mystery
Mm-hmm.
where which is still, it works in its favor. But I think that was part of the reason why initially I was like, okay, I don't know, sure if I love this movie as much.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like a mix of it has aspects of like a who done it, and it's funny just having Daniel Craig in the middle of it too, like
Yeah.
being in the Knives Out guy, Benoit Blanc. So like but it doesn't do the who done it thing where it's what you're describing. Okay, like this is this person, and this is their possible connection to why they did it. This is their possible motive, but they were also over here for the night, so maybe it couldn't have been them. And like it doesn't do that. It plays out not so much like a movie. It's just telling the story, but it does a little bit of that thing in the sense of like the mystery is a whodunit. You're like, okay, something.
Mhm.
Well, I guess it kind of also isn't. It's not like someone murdered Harriet. We have to find out who it is. We don't really know what happened to her. We assume she was killed, but like really, she just disappeared. So it it's not just a whodunit, but it also kind of is. Like when Henrik's like pointing everybody out, like that's my cousin over there, and he lives over there, and he doesn't talk to her. Like when he's saying all the members of the family, I feel like in a more who done it like meta movie that knows it's a movie would kind of like throw up a picture of that person or something, or like have a headshot of them, so like we know who it is. Because then when people are coming into the movie, like when people come to visit him at his cottage or when he goes to the hospital and we see people like sitting around, Henrik would have told us all those names, but we don't really know who's who. Whereas like
Yeah.
in a who done it, you would set every single one of those up, so you'd be guessing who who done it. But in
Yeah.
this, like you don't really need to know who's who
No, it's true.
in
And yeah,
that's
yeah.
in those scenes, anyways.
Yeah, like yeah, they'll have them like just like all sitting in a room, like and like
Yeah,
have a detective like walking past and like the classic like Knives Out. It is hard to like separate Knives Out from it, especially because Daniel Craig is
yeah,
in it.
yeah,
So you get that who done it thing starts to sit in your mind, which is funny, but it's so different. Like as like, and I didn't even write that down like even like a note when I was thinking about it. But it is true how this movie tries to be more realistic of like a mystery, especially a mystery that's supposed to be like 40 years old, where it's just like people would be like, yeah, man, like I don't remember, like that was so long ago.
hmm,
To a certain extent, for the family, obviously a lot of people would be like, yeah, because it's something that happened within your family, so that's not something you kind of just forget about. But like all the people kind of like around it, they were just like, ah, man, I don't remember, like to a
yeah,
certain extent.
yeah. And I mean, the family, I thought they were really interesting. Like all the characters were very interesting. I mean, that's where it kind of takes some of that whodunit stuff, is they all do have a little bit of, I wouldn't say necessarily a motive. Like they don't clearly say like it could have been her because she didn't like Harriet because of this. But there is the subtlety to it, which I really like, and credit to Fincher for that. But is like they do mention here and there kind of like, oh, this person, like she was really really smart, right? And Henrik said that maybe she was going to take over the business, so just that one little line, and so we know Martin took over the business, so we're like, oh, maybe he did it so that he could leapfrog her, you know what I mean? But it's not like
Mhm.
stated out loud. It's just a little thing that's subtle. But they're all also kind of like just creepy and weird, everyone in the family, so that just that feeling of uneasiness whenever you're on the island and people are coming to visit him, and then there's like the shit with the cat, and like, so there's just so much
Yeah.
stuff that you're like, okay, it literally could be anyone because all these people are creepy weirdos.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you even wonder is like, is this gonna be one of those movies where it's just there is no answer, or like it's just
Oh,
nothing.
you can't do that.
Yeah,
I hate that.
uh, yeah. Those movies exist though, where it's just like, oh, I guess it will just be unsolved, and then we just like fade off because it was about the journey. It wasn't about actually the
Or I suppose you could have, you sometimes you have those where it's like it's unsolved, but the movie kind of leads you to believe it's this person.
oh,
But
like Zodiac
yeah,
kind of thing.
that's exactly what I was
Yeah,
gonna compare it to, another Fincher movie. But like that's also based on a true crime,
yeah.
and we don't know who it is, so it's not like he could tell you who it is.
Hmm.
Memories of Murder, another one, like we don't
True.
really know who it is, but they're kind of like, could be this person, could be that person. So like I guess yeah, it's, I can't just put that blanket statement over movies that don't tell you who it is, and that's not being good. But in a fictional story, I feel like that's almost lazy. Like
Yeah,
if it's
no, it's
based on
true.
a true story, you don't know who it is, you don't know who it is. But a fictional
Yeah,
story, like, come on.
yeah. No, that is true. I guess with that being said, I guess it's time, Scott. I think it's time to hear from the
Sure.
family.
Let's hear from the family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Welcome to the family meeting. This is where we ask people's opinion online, and then we talk about some interesting points that people bring up. So I asked the question, pretty simple. You actually mentioned it kind of in your general thoughts, but like, where do you rank this among Fincher films? Um, surprisingly, we didn't get any response on Instagram. I don't know if people
Okay.
just maybe haven't seen enough Fincher films, so they didn't want to like have an opinion on where they put it. Anyways, Reddit. Um, I'm gonna shout out Red Raw Thrash Hatch. Well, in general, there was actually a really, really positive response. Like a lot of people were saying, oh, "I love this movie. It's really, really high for me." You said like you really liked it, grew on you, especially in Another Day. I know you're a big Fincher guy, so I'm excited to hear what you think. But actually, yeah, I'll ask you first. Where do you mentioned it a little bit, but like, Where would you put this?
Um, I still wouldn't. It's not in my top five, probably still though.
Okay.
Even though it did grow on me. I think it's just tough because also like a recency bias thing of like all the other movies I've seen multiple times now, and I saw this for the first time. So it's gonna be hard for it in general to jump
Mm,
over any of those other movies. Like number one for me is Fight Club. I think number two is The Social Network. I'm just gonna look it so I don't forget the movies. And
he's
then
got.
after that, probably Seven,
Mm-hmm.
and then Zodiac, and then Gone Girl, and then so that's already a five.
Yeah.
So it's outside of the top five for me, which it doesn't necessarily make it bad, but
Right.
I've also never seen Panic Room. That's what I think is one of the other films I actually haven't seen of his. And I haven't seen Benjamin Button in a while, but yeah, that's kind of how I rank it.
Okay.
What about
Um,
you? I don't
I
know if
yeah, I don't think I'd put it. It might squeak into my top five. I don't think I'd be top three. Like I think Seven and The Social Network are my two favorite of his. Fight Club I've seen once and it was a long time ago, so
Mhm,
I don't even really remember it a ton, to be honest.
mhm.
So I'd have to rewatch that one to give it a proper ranking, my proper
Yeah.
opinion. I Same thing with Gone Girl. I saw it once and it was a while ago, like kind of like when it came out, and I don't remember it a ton, but I remember liking it a lot. So I might put that in like the top three, but I think Social Network and Seven for me are his two best.
Okay. You've never have you seen Benjamin Button or The Game?
Nope, none of those.
Okay. Okay.
Panic Room
Well,
haven't seen. Zodiac. Oh, Zodiac. Forgot about Zodiac. Would I have that over this? I don't know. There's very similar. He has a lot of similarities, like to
yeah,
his
there is a lot of
movies.
similarities with this. Well, especially with Zodiac, I feel like it
Yeah,
is there's very similar. Like even I the way he's. I mean, we're not really in spoiler territory. When
yeah.
he's going into the guy into Martin's house
Mm,
by himself, that feels kind of like the Zodiac scene when he's in the other guy's house.
yeah,
That they gave me that same kind of feeling, that
yeah.
creepy,
I was thinking the
ominous feeling.
exact same thing. I was like, this is this is Fincher. Also, when Lisbeth is in the I was feeling that when she was in the like Vanger Industries, like looking through files and stuff, like the
Mm,
feeling of uneasiness. There's the lady that works there, and she's like being really standoffish, like almost trying to limit her access. Like she keeps having to ask, like, "Oh, I'm supposed to have access to everything I need, and this is what I need." And she's like, "Oh, well, I have the keys." You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
she's really like trying to stop her from doing stuff. And then there's like a figure that crosses the hallway at one point, and like
Mm.
all this creepy stuff. I was getting the same feeling. I was like, "Is she gonna get jumped?" Or like I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, no, that is true. But no, that's interesting. So it's neither of us. Well, you said you have to. I guess you have to see more movies to say about the top five thing. But
Yeah, I just wouldn't even
what are
want
the?
to put Fight Club in my ranking right now because it's been so long since I've seen it, and I really
That's
don't
fair.
even remember it that much. So
That's fair.
it wouldn't be fair. Um,
I would have read it say.
Red Raw Thrash Hatch said, honestly, I think The Social Network is his best film, but I rewatched this the most. I just love how unsettling the atmosphere and pacing is, so I actually put it near the top of his films. I think that's a good point. I think even though like The Social Network I really liked and Seven, like I said, like this is really rewatchable.
Mm.
Well, I guess I've only watched it once, but I would assume this would be I think this would be very
Yeah.
rewatchable.
Mhm. Um. Yeah. I guess like it's interesting with mysteries because I guess then you're trying to piece things together in that aspect of it being rewatchable. I'd say you could say the same thing with Gone Girl and Fight Club. I think that's why personally I just like Fight Club so much because I think there's a lot of rewatchability to it. Gone Girl, I've been wanting to rewatch, and I actually forget the conclude. Like it's been that long for me also too. And I remember really liking it, but I don't remember what the end result is, so it almost be kind of fresh to me again.
Okay. I remember the end result of like his missing wife, but then it's like
Okay.
but I remember that happens and that's like halfway through the movie and then there's like a whole nother movie on top of that.
Mm.
And I won't spoil it obviously for
Yeah.
anyone that hasn't seen it, and for you that just said
Yeah.
it would be kind of like a refresh for you. But no, yeah, the same. I want to rewatch that too. It's been a while for me.
Okay,
We
that is
will.
interesting. We'll talk about it because they said that it's really rewatchable. To me, I feel like it might be a tough rewatch just because the sexual assault. Like, to
That's a good
me, I think
point.
that's kind of like a hard thing to say. Is it's very rewatchable. I don't.
Yeah, that is true. Like that's something that I actually, a note I had with my general thoughts was just like there's some really tough scenes to watch in this.
Yeah.
So those I could see how, yeah, maybe that's not the most rewatchable, but I think they're done well. They're done in a way that, like, obviously it's horrible what's happening, but it's not like making light of it. Like it knows it's
Hmm.
something bad, and we ultimately get to see Lisbeth, like get her comeuppance and succeed in the
Hmm.
end. So like you end off like feeling good about, not good about what happened to her, but good about where she's
Yeah.
at. But
Hmm.
like those scenes, like while they're happening, you're right, are not the most fun to be watching.
Yeah. This isn't a movie that you watch with the family.
Yeah.
This is like you're on like a family vacation. It's like you guys ever seen Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Let's all like huddle
Yeah.
around the couch and watch this together. It's like that's how like you tell someone to go watch it by themselves, or maybe I wouldn't even be like, "Yo, you should watch it with your girl." Did the dude come to you next day, be like, "Yo, what the? Why did you tell me to watch that with my girl?" Like it's a very much like a you have to give someone context when you tell them to go watch this movie.
Yeah, I mean, when I even saw that it was rated R, I was like, "Oh, it's rated R. Okay, sure, cool." I didn't think there was going to be like gruesome kills in it. I
Yeah,
didn't know even a ton of exactly what it was about. Like, they're chasing a serial killer, so like that could be rated R. Sure, that makes sense.
yeah,
And then that stuff happened. I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's you don't want to
yeah.
you don't want kids watching that. That is
No, definitely
graphic."
not.
Um, the comment with the most upvotes, actually, it wasn't even a ranking, but they said, "Oh man, should have made the trilogy." So like I said, the
Mm,
positivity, like a lot of people were very positive response to the movie, really liked it. And I didn't even know that it was, I knew it was based on a book, but I didn't know there were three of them. So there's an original like Swedish version of these movies where they made all three, and I haven't seen those, but then this one they made the one, and I don't know, it was a box office success. I don't know why, maybe they didn't want to do the second one. I don't know.
yeah, I mean Fincher doesn't really do sequels, so I guess maybe that's well, he doesn't do his own sequels. He's done a sequel before, like he did Alien 3,
And he's
but
doing Cliff Booth right now.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so he just doesn't do his own sequels. He'll do other.
Yeah.
He'll continue someone else's story, but he
Yeah.
doesn't want to get bogged down in doing a trilogy or a sequel. But yeah, I don't know why. I wonder why he didn't want to continue going on, moving on with that. And I guess people, I mean, if you really want to keep going, either you just read the book or you just watch the Swedish versions. I don't know. They're not. I looked them up. They're not rated horribly. They're still rated pretty well for the most part.
Hmm.
Maybe they're even more authentic because at the end of the day, like this is a Swedish story, and then everyone's talking in English and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of that taken out of it. So
Yeah. You
maybe
have an
it's a,
American directing, and
yeah.
the writer, I didn't actually look into the writer. Was the writer
Oh, if
Swedish?
the writer's Swedish, I don't know. Actually, that's a good question.
I don't know.
But
And finally, I'm going to shout out Samus Arachnid, who said, "I watched it last night. It's always great.
oh,
Probably tied with Seven, with Zodiac coming in close second. The Social Network is a great film as well, but it's one I don't watch much." So like we were
mm,
talking about kind of that rewatchability. I think the Social Network actually has some rewatchability, but
no,
I
I
mean,
do
just
too. But
it's funny. It's funny just kind of seeing everyone. I mean, with every ranking of a director or a franchise, obviously you're going to have people with different opinions, but when you have someone like Fincher that I think has such similarities, like we talked about, like just with serial killers, the whole biblical thing, you get the biblical names in this, you had that in Seven. Like
yeah,
I think it's so easy to switch things out within a ranking because a lot of his movies are so similar,
hmm
you know?
no, it's true. I think the movies that are most distant from his catalog is probably the Social Network because it's not that dark. It's more about tech, the dark side of tech, really, versus like serial killers and
Killing.
murdering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more so the dark sides of the tech industry. And then also The Game.
Oh, I
You've never
haven't
seen
seen
that
that.
movie, but it's not serial killers and murder. What there people do die in that movie, but it's not the same kind of thing. It's a different kind of vibe.
Mm.
You tell it's a Fincher movie when you watch it, like it looks like it, and there's still these dark elements to it. But those movies are the least are the furthest from the other movies that are centralized around serial killers and other dark themes.
Mm. And I mean,
Mm.
and Social Network is one that's one of his best. Like lot of people have him in higher in the rankings. We did too. So I
Yeah.
mean, he's not a one trick pony. I mean,
No, definitely
he
not.
just likes serial killer. I mean, when he did, like when he did Zodiac, he when we did Zodiac, we talked about like he grew up in California at that
Yeah,
time, so like it was just like a part of his life. So I feel like
yeah.
that just like really shaped him moving forward, and it's just something that interests him. So even in fictional stories, he still gravitates toward serial killers. I find that interesting.
Yeah, and he kind of just became a director in a time period when serial killer pop was really a big part of pop culture. Like there were so many, like we talked about that when we were doing like Silence of the Lambs. Like that was like that 90s time. It was like those kind of movies were really coming out, and the way like they were making like documentaries and doing the sit down interviews with serial killers and stuff like that. It was such like a big thing at the time. So like it's all just like time and place, really.
I feel like he's also a really good, like he's almost the perfect director for serial killer type movies because he's so obsessive about like details and stuff, where
Hmm.
that's also serial killers are like obsessive, not necessarily about like specific details, but like in the case of Zodiac, for example, and the killer that he did, like they're serial killers that do obsess over details so that they don't get caught. Like they do
Hmm.
this specific thing and then they clean this and that. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
he's like that. So he can almost like understand the serial killer. So he can maybe build a story around them that's a little more complete just because he understands the character so well. And then it also comes across when we're watching it that we don't notice like a little detail that they miss and be like, oh, that was stupid. Why would they leave the door open? And you know what I mean? Like, no, everything's taken care of in the back top left corner of the screen. Don't worry, Fincher's worried about that book that's on the
Oh,
shelf. You know?
exactly. And they've shot it 10 times because someone moved the book by
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, that's insane. That's actually insane. Every time I hear these
Yeah.
stories, I didn't hear any like, or I didn't read about any like super crazy stories from this one about like 1,000 takes, but I've heard that from a lot of his other films. And I know obviously they did multiple takes here, but like, did you read about anybody complaining
Nah,
about
I
like
didn't see any.
500
Yeah.
takes for?
No. I
Oh
think
yeah, me
because at
neither.
that point people just knew. So they're just like, "Hey, this isn't a news story to talk about
Yeah, I
it."
guess so. Yeah,
Like
that's
it's
true.
2011 now. He's made like, at least like 5 movies by this point, or 6 movies, or it's like it's not even a thing
True.
to
Yeah,
even say
Stellan
anything
Skarsgard
about.
would be like, "Oh, I had to get hit by a golf club 99 times." And we're like, "Yeah, whatever, dude. You're in a Fincher movie. Nobody cares
Yeah,
anymore."
exactly. Yeah, get over it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Did
So
we
that's
did we
it.
get any other from Reddit? That's
No,
it.
that's it.
Okay.
Well, there's those are the ones I shouted out.
Okay, those are the ones you shut out. Okay, no, interesting. Uh, we talked about how like the setup and stuff like that. How it's like the 40-year mystery and like the whole family dynamic. And I'm kind of curious, even with the answer we got. I mean, you could talk about any aspects of the setup,
Hmm.
but you could lead with if you had any predictions.
Yeah. Let me get to my point on the mystery. Martin, yeah, I didn't really see Martin coming. I will say, like, I kind of had predictions, and they change kind of as the movie goes, as you get more information, right? So, like, as soon as like he's setting everybody up, and he said like the Nazi things, I was like, okay, that's something like that wouldn't be in the script if like that wasn't some sort of clue. Like, yes, it could be there to throw you off, but like I feel like that might be something. And then when we find out that the list that Harriet left was there were Bible verses, and then we find out that they're
Mhm.
victims and they killed them in the specific ways, and then when he has the realization that they're all Jewish, then these are all Jewish girls, that immediately tipped me off to like the Nazi thing. I
Mhm.
mean, he even says it. He's like, "There's this family has a bunch of anti Semites," so I kind of moved away from Martin in that sense.
Mhm.
And he was always like cooperative and like trying to help them get
Yeah.
access to files and stuff, which is always like the perfect flip. So you can almost like feel like you should see it coming, but also his age, like I was like, he's like the same age as Harriet. So like, how would he even do that? Why would he even do that? That doesn't really, I didn't see that coming. So no, Martin, I did not see coming.
Yeah, and it's his sister too, so you'd be like, why would he kill it? I mean, it was good. It's like usually people in mysteries we talk about red herrings, and you're like, okay, well, it's definitely not gonna be that person, or that could be that's the easy flip where it's like, okay, this is too. This almost seems too obvious. Like there's too many things leading to this person, and in this sense too, like Martin was such a non red herring that it just felt like, well, there's just nothing here. Like I'm not even gonna look that way because it just doesn't even make sense
Yeah, I
to
think
why it would even be him.
the one thing that like made me suspicious on him was like his when they're at dinner, him, Michael, and I think that's his daughter. Is that Martin's daughter when they go to dinner at his house?
No, I think that someone he's dating, I think, because there was a line where they threw out the like, "Oh,
Oh,
that's why she won't marry me" or
yeah,
something
you're
like
right.
that. And she's like, "Well, there's multiple reasons." Which I was like, "Does she know he's a killer?"
I don't think
That
so.
as you think now, as like going in back, and I'm just like, wait, that sounds kind of sus now. That like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think she would know, but I don't know. Maybe. And now
yeah,
you're in a situation where you're like, well, I can't leave. There's like he might kill me if I leave, but I don't
right.
want to marry him. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think.
I that's just me just throwing
Yeah,
that out
yeah, no,
there.
I don't think she knows. But at that dinner, anyways, when there's like a sound, right, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go. Something. I left something open."
Yeah.
And so when that happens, I was like, "Oh, this is. I know what movie we're in. That's that. You know, like that's not a. That's he didn't leave something open. He's going to do something." And but that's also so early in the movie, and then there's so much other stuff that happens that you kind of forget about it. So by the
Mhm.
end, like as soon as you get down to the basement, you see he's got this whole kill room. Then you think back to that moment, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, there was maybe someone down here, like something happened down here, and then he says that yes, there was a girl in this cage when you were here, which
Mhm.
is just horrifying. This is that see that's something where I feel like on a rewatch when you
Yeah.
hear it and then he leaves and then you could just like almost like read his mannerisms a little more and be like,
Mhm.
okay, like how unhinged he is that he's just like, oh, I left the window open. I'm just go close it. And it's just a person that he's about to murder in a cage in the basement. Like that's insane.
Yeah, no, that is insane, and it's interesting to think about that too because the sound that we heard was the exact same sound of like the front door kind of being open, and it was like a whistling sound. So like, where was that sound? Where was that sound coming from? Because there was a
Uh
legit sound that he had to attend to, but
yeah.
I want like where was that? It wasn't like it was the door to the kill room because you would have heard a girl screaming probably maybe or something. I don't know.
I think that's probably what the sound was. It was her screaming, but it was like it was muffled and it maybe just sounded like a whistle through like
Mm.
the through the floor or whatever.
True. I wonder what his because let's we're assuming that like the girlfriend that he has doesn't actually know.
Yeah.
If she asks like what's down there, like I wonder what his explanation is. Like why do we have all these? What's with that secret room downstairs that I can't go in? Because she definitely can't go down there.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, I don't think she lives there. She lives somewhere else, right? She's like, "Oh, I come down
I
and I
guess you're
spend
right.
time with him every now and then." So I think it's just like when I'm visiting, we just kind of stay up on the main floor and hang out and just
Mm,
don't even worry about it too much. If she lived there, then you'd have to come up with something, but
yeah. No, that's true. No, that's a good point. I
yeah.
remember I don't know, my theories I like to just when I'm in these mystery movies, I just let my mind just go like whatever and I don't even try to like pull myself back of like what could possibly be the because the whole time I was wondering what like Lisbeth's connection was. It's like
Mm,
we get introduced to her pretty early, and it's just like she's literally like just in her own story. And there's a little bit of connection because we know that she was researching like Michael. But
mhm.
up besides that, I was just like, why what is this girl have to do? Like she connected to this family? Like that was a point of me where I was thinking, I was like, is there some connection of her to this family? I was waiting for that. That was constantly something that I was like in my mind because I was like, I don't understand the connection here. Like I don't know if you had any wild like thoughts as you were going through the movie.
No, I was that was a question I had too. Like right at the start, I was wondering the same thing. I was like, how is she gonna get involved in this story? Like they have
Yeah.
no. She has the little bit of connection with Michael. You're right. Like that she did the background check on him, and then she then I guess in doing the research on the court case between
Mhm.
Michael and Wennesberg. What's the guy's name?
Yeah, I think it was so Winnisberg, I think.
Wennerstrom.
Winistrom.
So I guess when she looked into that case, then she was like, okay, like I think this guy actually did do this bad stuff. So like she looked into him. She's like hacks into his computer, does all this stuff. So I was like, okay, I get why she's doing this, but this still has no connection to the Vangers at all. So I was like, how is she gonna get connected into it? Um, and then it makes sense when it does happen, and but for the first like third of the movie, I just kind of treated it as though they were two separate stories because they were,
Mhm.
right? Like we're kind of seeing her more character side. Like we're seeing the things that she's going through, and we're learning a little bit about her past. And she's an orphan, and she's going through all these social foster care system and all this stuff. And Michael, we don't really care about his character as much. He's mostly there to
Mhm.
like drive the mystery plot forward. So like I just kind of took it as like, okay, she's the emotion of the movie and he's like the plot of the movie. And then like I just treated them separately until they came together, and then we get both.
Yeah. And that was actually a point of mine too, which is why I think another aspect of why I leaned a little bit towards good and not great was just Michael's character in general. Like I
Mm.
want to I'm already talking about Lisbeth, but I'm curious to hear like your thoughts on Michael's character and like kind of his arc versus like Lisbeth's character. And then once we got them together, then they kind of became their own story. But what were your thoughts on like on Michael's character and like his kind
Yeah,
of
I think
arc?
I think he's we get a tiny bit like he's driven to do the right thing. I think like he obviously with the Wenstrom case, like you have this big guy and you think he's doing all these illegal things, and when you're a journalist, I get that this could be a huge breaking story and you could profit off of that. But even after like he goes to court and he gets disgraced or whatever, he's still stuck on it. Like the whole reason he takes this case with Vanger with Henrik is because he's like, no, I can give you Wennerstrom. Like I have stuff on him. So he's still obsessed with like, I don't know if it's a vendetta thing. If he's like, no, screw this guy. Because I got messed up going after him, I want to clear my name and I also want to bring him down. Or if it's also just like a, no, I want to do the right thing. Because in the Harriet case, that's also that. It's like this is a 40-year-old mystery, but a 16-year-old girl went missing. Like, kind of want to do the right thing and find her, or is it just an intrigue thing when he brings him up and like we see all the drawings of like those flowers or whatever? Like
Mhm.
that was an interesting point. Maybe he that just hooked him, and he's like, okay, no, this is cool. I want to dig my teeth into this mystery, but I don't know. I feel like he wants to do the right thing.
Okay, yeah, which I agree. Which is funny that that is his what's I guess his internal drive, because from what we know from that character, like his morals are not really aligned with that. Like
That's fair.
he cheated on his and ruined his relationship, and he's
Yeah.
still currently ruining another relationship. And even in that relationship that he's doing that, he's also hooking up with Lisbeth. So it's like this guy is doing like a lot of things that kind of go against of like what we're kind of led to believe, like this guy is all about doing the right thing, but then he's constantly not doing the right thing.
That's a good point. Yeah. So maybe, like I said, maybe it's more like the with the Wennerstrom thing. It's more of a revenge thing. Like I went after you and I couldn't prove it, so I got disgraced at court. So I want revenge. Like I want to bring you down, and also in doing so, clear his own name. I suppose. So that's a selfish reason. And the Harriet case, maybe he just took because that would lead him to getting the win on Wennerstrom. Because at the end when they bring Harriet back and Henrik gives him like the files. He's like, this isn't nothing. I can't even use this. Like, this is something that just, it's not even illegal. Like, it's bad and people might ruin his reputation. But what the fuck does that do for me? You know what I mean? So, like,
Mhm.
as soon as he gets the result that he's looking for, he's immediately to the, what about me? Like, I need my thing. So maybe
Yeah.
he is a piece of shit.
That was kind of my thing. I was like, I don't, and I was trying to pull the Daniel Craig aspect of it aside, and the fact that it's a Fincher movie aside. I was like, I was watching this character, Michael. I was like, I don't really like this character. It's not like he didn't bore me. I wasn't like every time he was on screen, I'm like, oh, like this is a down part of the movie. But I was just like, I never found myself really rooting for him. Maybe on the second watch, again, that we're talking about it being like rewatchable, I'd have different thoughts. But as I was going through it on this initial watch, I was just like I'm intrigued for him to solve this mystery, but like I'm not
Mhm.
like rooting for this character. I feel like because it's
Yeah.
like he's just doing all these things, and like to your point of like he's like, well, what is this gonna do for me? Like, yeah, this guy that's trying to ruin you, like this will defile his name. That should be good enough. Like this is the right thing, but it's not about the right thing. It's about, well, how's this gonna
Mm.
help me? Like I can't even like this is not gonna help me. It's like, well, no, we're actually putting out the truth about what this guy's doing. Well, yeah, I was like, but that's not gonna help me.
Right. Yeah, I think we've talked me into it that he's not he doesn't want to do the right thing. Yeah, I think you're totally right actually. And I mean, I agree with you 100%. Like when I was watching, I was like, I don't really care about the character. I care about the story though. Like I care
Yeah.
about the mystery and he's the one investigating the mystery. So every time he's going through, it's like he's what the intrigue of those scenes is like when he's asking questions. It's almost like he's in those scenes as a placeholder for us so he can ask the questions to everyone else in the family, to the cop that ran the case before. He's looking through like the pictures and all that stuff. So like basically he's us trying to figure out the mystery, investigate this case. So that's the interest. His character I just don't really even care about. They don't really even try to make me care about him. Lisbeth is the one where it's like, nah, she's not even attached to this case right now. All of this is just for her character.
Yeah, and now that's like the big contrast for me where it's just like I care about what happens to this character,
Mm-hmm.
especially like from the beginning you're just like what's going on with her because she feels like so distant from like what we're focusing on in the story. Like we're trying to solve this mystery and we have like this hacker girl on the side. And then we're getting with her for her day to day, and then obviously the traumatic events happen to her with that what was that what do you call that, what was that dude's name,
I
right? Like
call
what
him the
was
social
his
worker. I don't know
the
his
social
name.
worker.
I just
Okay.
call him the social
So yeah,
worker.
with the social
The
worker and like
devil, we
that
can
whole
call him
storyline.
that.
Yeah, basically. And so that you care because it's okay, well, I need to see what's going to happen with her going forward. Like this is she's going through a tough time and like and you're rooting for her. You want her to come out on the other side of the story like on good, which actually doesn't well for the most part she does, but
Hmm.
the ending scene of like in the end our guy Michael doesn't even like end up with her, which you think after everything they went through that maybe there's obviously a huge age gap there and everything, but it felt like that was like okay, it's these two now, like
Hmm.
that's what we're gonna get, but we don't. I don't know what the next two books, maybe we get more answers from that. I assume we get more answers from that in the books,
Yeah.
but it was an interesting ending that I didn't expect it to go like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. I had a whole point on that too. Like their whole relationship, their romantic relationship, almost the whole thing is just to set up that one last blow to her at the end
Yeah.
where she's like it's devastating when right before she goes to see him, she goes to see her old social worker, right, the guy that had a stroke, and they're playing
Mhm.
chess, and she's like, oh, I finally made a friend, like someone you would approve of, like a good influence on my life, even though we talk about how bad this guy is, but still like comparatively to the other people that
Yeah.
we've seen in her life, a, a good influence. And everything's good, like we're nice, we work well together, we're hooking up, all this stuff, I got all the money, like she's on the high, right? She got her comeuppance with the other social worker, so like we're feeling good that she, like you said, we wanted to see her succeed and she does succeed. She gets him the gift and we see he's still with the other girl. So like that whole, the fact that they, when they like hooked up and everything, all is just to set her up, just to bring her right back down. Damn, now she's just alone
Yeah.
again, and like you feel like now she's just gonna go back down into her mental health maybe is gonna drop. She might go back into circles where she's hanging out with people she shouldn't be hanging out with, and like you said, I'm sure the second and third books, like we obviously see what happens to her, and I'm sure there's more to the relationship there. But like at the end of this, you just left feeling like, oh man,
Yeah, that exactly. That is how I felt, and that even emphasized more my thoughts on Michael. I'm like, are you kidding me, dog? Like,
yeah,
are you not
come
even
on,
like,
man.
are you all not even talking? Is he just gonna act like that? No, all that didn't happen. Like, I kind of figured that that relationship was like, well, I don't know if this is gonna end well. This is kind of like they're meeting under these weird terms, and like I don't know what this actually is. Like they have that nice little moment when she's like, "I really like working with you," and he's like, "I really like working with you too." And I was just like,
Hmm.
"Okay, well, I
That
don't
was
know
right
what
after
that really
sex, though.
means."
Does
Yeah,
that even? You just might say anything right after that, you
yeah,
know?
no, that is true. That is very. Even he was like, kind of just like, "Okay, I guess we're doing this." Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I like working with you too.
I didn't even love that when it happened for the first time. Like they come back. I don't remember exactly what they come back from, like why she was feeling so good, spontaneous
Yeah,
about this, but like she turns off all the lights and they just start hooking up. And he even was like, "Whoa, like that's kind of
yeah.
out of
What's going on?
nowhere. Like, should
Yeah,
we really be doing this?" And like I kind of felt that way too. I was like, I didn't like buy this relationship that much, like right from the jump. And especially when I'm watching a movie, I always know like that's just such a classic thing. Like you have your two main characters and they're just gonna get together. Like they have to
yeah.
hook up for the story because that's just what sells movies or something. I don't know. You
Hmm.
always just want to see them get together, and I'm just like, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And like in this one, I feel
Yeah,
I when it first happened, I was like, I feel like this doesn't really make sense. But then I started to buy into it a little bit more when I understood the relationship. I think a little bit more, where like there's one point where they're having sex and he's just like thinking about the case. Like he starts talking
hmm,
about, oh well, there could be another possibility, and she's like, give me a second. So
yeah,
like, so I don't even think he likes her that much. He's just hooking up
mm,
with her to hook up, and I think at least from her side, she's like, okay, I feel safe with this person, and that's a huge contrast to everyone else in her life. So like that's
yeah.
probably what attracts her to him. So when I understood it a little bit more, I appreciated it a bit more. But at the start, I was like, this is kind of, I don't know. I
Yeah.
thought it was a little bit weird.
No, I agree. And to your point, I think it's very transactional. That's what the relationship is. Like they're getting what they need from each other in like many aspects. And like it sits with him. Like there's another funny part too where like this guy he didn't seem like a freaking dinosaur until like you see her doing stuff on the computer and he's just like, wait 1 second, let me just move. I'm just like, dog, oh my god. He's acting like he's never used a computer before. I'm like, I didn't realize he was this slow
Yeah.
until until she stepped in the room. It's like, all right, damn, okay, yeah. He definitely needs her help.
And when she looks at him too, and when he comes, like he wakes up in the morning, he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm going through your notes." He's like, "Well, that's encrypted," and she just looks at him like,
Yeah.
"Come on, dog, it's baby food. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?"
That is one thing too that talking about like I don't know if we mentioned this in the Zodiac because I probably didn't know, actually definitely not, because that movie was uh in the 70s and then jumped to time, so there wasn't much tech in that movie, but it was, I remember it was something I learned about David Fincher, that he really loves technology, and that was a big pull for him to even do The Social Network, because it's just like this is such a
Mm,
big thing in our history, which now with retrospect, it really puts more emphasis on like why he was so fascinated by Facebook. Because like when we were like kids and like or like teenagers and people that were maybe a little bit younger, he was like he's making a movie about like this social media thing. But like now you look back, it's like that's like a historical thing he made a movie about. Like that
yeah,
was like this is something that changed society. But at the time, it was kind of fresh. It was kind of new. It's just like, why is he making a thing about this app? Whatever. Like, still around. It's one of the biggest things. And like, you could probably make someone could make a movie about TikTok, but they're making a TikTok movie, and then 10 years later, be like, okay, well, I see why they made a movie about TikTok because that thing changed the world. But
right.
with knowing how much, and like he had the crazy fascination of just digital cameras too. Like a lot of people, it's still people. You got your Nolans and your Tarantinos and some of those guys that are just like, no, I love film, which obviously like film has its own look and feel to it with the movies and stuff like that, but he was so enamored by digital where you're just like, oh, like He's just so fascinated by technology. And when you keep that in mind of like how much he loves technology, and then you watch this film or any of these movies that aren't period pieces that have technology in it, you see how much emphasis gets put on when someone's holding a camera and there's a zoom in on the camera and you get to see someone really using it, or like when people are using computers, like how much are using computers in this, and just the way he just shows it, and there's so much care on it where it's not just like someone just using a computer and like move on. Like there's so much emphasis on the screens and just like what the person's doing on the device, whether it's a phone or whatever it is. Like he puts so much attention on it because he's obsessed with technology.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I have a couple responses. So like the his attention like to the screen itself when they're like you're right, you could easily just in a lot of movies you'll just have like the pictures that he's looking through on the screen and he's just scrolling through them because that's the information for the mystery. We have to see the picture. We don't have to see how he got the picture. Whereas like in this movie you'll see him open up the tab, you see him scan the picture, download it, full screen it, zoom in, like all this stuff. Whereas you could just have that on his screen.
Yeah.
You'll see her doing the same thing. You can like she'll open up a new tab, Google something, and then go, and then move something over here, and like we could tell how many tabs she's got open, and like all these little details that really don't matter, but it just
Mm.
adds to the grounding feeling. I feel like, and it also tells us like kind of the same thing. If you have like this tech wizard in Lisbeth, she's got 100 tabs open. She's quickly flying through all these things. He's analog scanning a photo and then he's got to double click the window and then zoom in. Like it even shows that difference in the character like you were talking about. Also his fascination with digital, or his use of digital, I think is almost necessary because he does 1,000 takes.
Yeah.
What are you gonna have, like a crate of film beside you just to swap that out every time? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was the worst thing that could have happened for him. That just ruined his perfectionism, if anything. Because before they'd be like, we only have this much film. We only have this much that we can do. That's all you can do. But then when they're like, wait, digital, I can do as many times as I want, and it's not gonna
Perfect.
cost us more money.
Yeah.
We're just there. Everyone's just like, oh damn it, man. Why did we
I
why did we
think
let this happen?
I think another thing digital, I guess that's it, like the chicken or the egg, like which came first, like why, like I think his signature look and like feel to his movies really is perfect with digital as well. But what I'm saying is like, is that because he has to shoot on digital so that like he
Mm.
just created a look and feel based off of that, or did he want to go with digital also because he likes the look of it? But like that, like the yellow glow, I feel like that he likes in a lot of whenever he's got lighting. Like there's a lot of that kind of, I mean, darkness. Obviously, there's a lot of darkness in his movies, but then he's got, I feel like a yellowish kind of warm glow to a lot of the, especially like basement stuff when she's in the stacks of books and things like that. But I also think like a lot of slow silence. I always say silence when I think of David Fincher. I think of like
Mm.
not necessarily just sound silence, but I think because like every background detail is so thought of and intentional, it almost feels like less busy. Like it's not just stuff thrown in the background. I feel like, okay, this is there for a reason and that's there for a reason. So everything feels like clean and perfect. And like, so like even in visually, it feels more like silent. Like I can really focus on one thing because there isn't all this noise around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and that's an aspect of his movies that I think I really do enjoy. Like the attention to detail, and like the what he wants you to focus on gets focused on in a way, and it make it interesting. Because like we were just talking about, like people flipping through books and looking on the computer, that shit could be really boring. But he tries his best to make it look visually stimulating as much as he can. And I think another aspect too, which I think really ties into um why I think he does what he does with his like fascination with like the computers, or like the um like the computers, the cameras, or even like going through like papers and stuff like that. Like if you watch, I guess like Seven, for example, and stuff like that, where it really also just puts you in that time period to a very certain extent, where it's just like this is how people did things when they were researching stuff, or this is how, like, because like when we go back and watch these movies, even just seeing certain cameras and just seeing certain laptops, it already puts you back in that time. It's like, oh yeah, that was how people were doing things at that time. And then as you keep going into watching different movies, like you'll notice the computers are changing. So I think that's also his way of being like, I remember when all these things didn't exist, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm making a movie where this is a thing going on right now. So I'm going to focus heavily on the tech of this time. So now it also becomes its own kind of time capsule where like then you go watch it 10 years later and it's just like, oh yeah, I remember those MacBooks and like
Right.
those kind of cameras. We used to have those. And yeah, that's how we use them. Yeah, yeah.
There's also another specific example from this movie that I didn't notice on watching, but read about afterwards. But Martin, when he goes in, like in his basement, he has the camera set up, right? Where when he's like asking his questions to Michael and like he's recording his victims, that camera is like an old camcorder. Like it's really big compared to like the sleek cameras that we have now, and or even they still had at the time. And he put that in there with like an older style camera to kind of show that he's been doing this a long time, right? Because we learned that his dad was doing it before him and then he started doing it when he was young. So like just like there's no dialogue said, there's no nothing else. It's literally just because this camera's old, this is the little hint to show like, look, this guy's been doing this for a long time and he's been recording with this old ass camera. Like he's, I guess he built this whole kill room in his basement, but he didn't have enough room to upgrade his camera. But I don't know. I just think that's a funny little detail.
No, that is a good point. That is a good little point. Because even the concept of like Lisbeth having she sent us all those like the newer cameras, like to watch what
Right.
they're like the security cameras. So like that is, I didn't notice that either. That is a good point. That's using that such an old style camera, and it just really shows you, like you're saying, how long he's been doing it for.
That's another thing that adds to the again the rewatchability of just Fincher movies in general is just because we know every prop, every motion, every facial movement, like everything is decided and directed. Like just looking for little things in the background of like, and even if it is just like a book sitting on the table and you're just like, he put that there, like he decided to put that book on the table. I wonder why. You know what I mean? Just like to think about stuff like that because we know that he's a psycho. So it's just fun to think about that stuff when you're rewatching.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. It's funny too because there will be the people that like anybody, people will complain about anything. But I remember when I was watching a video, just like researching for this movie, someone was talking about like, oh, like, yeah, the movie's good, but it's just kind of dark, whatever. And I laughed because I saw someone's comment was like, it's like, yeah, movies can be kind of dark, but like it's better than watching like some of these streaming movies that look like an IKEA freaking
Mm,
showroom where they
yeah.
just light up everything, where it's just like that is like its own kind of streaming style with some kind of movies and TV show where it's just like, all right, we're just gonna light up everything. Where it feels so unnatural in certain scenarios because like that's not how most people's houses look. Like people don't have lights that touch every single corner of their room. Used for the most part, you'll usually when you're realistically in your house, you might like throw a couple lights here. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't just be sitting in your house with every single light on in your house, and that's how it
Yeah.
looks sometimes when
Yeah.
you watch certain things. It's like nobody wants to pay the electric bill for that, bro. Like I'm
Yeah,
turning on
exactly.
like the side, like the one light over here, maybe like a little kitchen light, and then I'm watching my TV. I'm not putting every light on than to watch something on the TV.
I feel like it depends on the tone though, and like a
It
tone
does.
for like streaming movies, most of them are light and fun. You know, that's kind of what they
Yeah.
are. So it makes sense that you're gonna have a million lights. Something like this where you're having sexual assault, murder, like all this stuff. Like it's the tone of the movie's dark, so it makes sense that visually it would also be dark. And I mean,
Mm.
not only that, but people are you don't like you're trying to solve a mystery, right? So, and people are being creepy and weird, so you're like almost like that hiding in the shadows thing. Like, who is that? Is that person bad? Like, did they do something wrong? Like, just all that. There's just so much darkness around this and shadow and uncertainty, so that like it totally fits. Like another guy was the lawyer, I think Henrik's lawyer, the guy that like
Mm.
hired Lisbeth do the background check on Michael, like that was a guy too that I was like, I don't know, he's trying to limit access to the files and stuff. Like maybe he did it. I don't know. There's just so much uncertainty and darkness and creepiness that like it totally makes sense to not have every single light on.
Oh yeah, 100%. Um, I'm kind of curious what you thought about the the whole like when she asked Michael for like the $5,000, she wants to make the investment. What do you think of that part of the movie? Like her going through that.
Um, I think that's obviously like the completion of her arc in this movie. I almost didn't care for it as much. Like when she steals the money, I'm just like, okay, like they got Wennerstrom. This doesn't do anything for like Michael. We saw him. Okay, his name's cleared now. He has the evidence. All that's good. We already saw her, I guess, get a win in the fact that like she got her comeuppance on the the first like that social worker, but and they got the guy that was doing the bad things to all the other women, and like she's clearly, you know, like because those things are happening to her, she wants to stop this from happening to other women. So the fact that they found out who it was and stopped him and killed him, I feel like that's a good enough win. But they just like threw this in just so that she could like steal the money. Maybe there's a reason it comes back in the future books, but like for this movie, I didn't really care.
Yeah. I do think it's I do agree with what you're saying where I feel like they wanted to give her like another win because I guess you could argue that her doing that is what got the cartel to actually kill the guy. Cause I don't know,
Maybe.
because it made it seem like he was doing all this nefarious stuff where he's like, oh, he's trying to get away with the money. And they were like, no, 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 we're not letting
Right.
this guy get away. Or maybe he's trying to figure out his way to like snitch on us and then have his money like spread out where like maybe that's the reason why he ended up getting popped. I don't know.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think you're probably right. That I mean, she's super calculated, right? Super smart, and everything she does is it works out. And so I think that you're probably right that she probably could have just like hacked the bank and like stole the money herself, right? But the fact that she did got in the different passport, did the makeup and the wig and everything so she could go in person and do this, she did that to like frame him because we get like the news broadcast that says, you know, it was like Winterstrom did this with this like with the help from this woman, and they have the picture of her,
Mhm.
right? So I think it was to actually frame him so that yeah, the cartel or the terrorist organizations or whatever killed him. So it's like a double whammy basically. But at the same time, I still didn't really care that much, and I think that's just because I didn't care about the Winterstrom storyline very much. Like we talked about,
Yeah.
like Michael, his character is kind of meh. I care about the mystery that he's following. So the Winterstrom stuff, I just was didn't really care that much. Like it's almost all told through people watching the news. So it feels like it's like relegated to the sidelines. Like we're not actually giving you scenes of these guys talking or anything. We're just gonna like have something happen and then we'll see his reaction from this guy watching the news in a coffee shop. And I'm like, okay, well you're just telling me right from the front that you just shouldn't care about this because you don't even care about it enough to put the scenes in. So I just didn't really care.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I feel pretty similar about that too. Where it was just like that's why I even brought it up to where I was like, okay, like there's added this kind of scene in there, which felt kind of rushed because it was just like I don't know if that was a bigger part of the book, and they're like, okay, maybe let's just throw it in there just to give this character like another thing. Because again, we're still going off like the sexual assault is like the biggest part for of this character's story, and we're trying to um not necessarily like win the audience back, but it just in the sense of like we need to really like bring this character back up because we especially because we spent so much time with it. That was like the last thing I want to say on the whole like assault thing, which was honestly another part of the why I was like it was meant to be uncomfortable and not and meant to be disturbing, obviously, because that's what is a big linking of her to even like I assume she probably would want to help on this case regardless, but because it was so close to home and
Mm-hmm.
hearing kind of what happened to these girls, I think is another drive of why she wanted to do that. But I think that it was just the scene was just so visceral and we sat with it for so long that even when she got her comeuppance, it almost felt like like the comeuppance of her getting her payback on the guy was not even as long, and it didn't seem as gruesome in comparison. It almost felt like it shied a little bit away from it as far as like in that scene, like we were with it for so long, and like they slowly went through it. Where I was just like, okay, well, what are they gonna do to this guy? What's gonna happen to this guy? And it almost felt to, at least in my eyes, that like he got off, but maybe that's part of it, where it's just like sometimes these guys don't even get the worst of what happens to them. And clearly the writer wanted to put emphasis on the tragedies that happens to what's it called, people in these type of situations. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I don't
think
know if you what your
I
thoughts
mean
on the
Wennerstrom, like you're saying, like the fact that maybe it's just there to get her another win. I wasn't mad at that because of what happens to her in the
yeah.
movie. Like we just want to see her succeed. Any win for her is a good win. But yeah, those scenes specifically were very tough. And I mean the comeuppance, I don't know, you don't think that was gruesome? Like the thing that like the she put the thing up his butt and then she kicked it like 3 times, and like the whole tattoo thing, like it was bad. Obviously what he did to her, we saw it twice. It happened twice,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying one is like better than the other, but like he got it. He got it pretty bad too. I will say though, like when he's like zip tied to the floor, his legs, both of his arms, and then when she walks out, she just like throws the like clips beside his hand or whatever, and I was like,
Mhm.
how does he actually get out of that? Like even if I
Yeah,
have
that's a
these
good
like
point.
pliers, like these snips, how am I how am I cutting myself out? I'm still tied to the ground.
Yeah, no, it is a good point. I think the reason I even question it too is because like I think of like how I've seen other movies do it, and again, I think this is again where you get day to sit on it, and then there's nothing you continue to like to think on it, and then rewatch and stuff like that. But I think of like in other movies where like they almost like imply what happened to a character.
Mm.
I think this is one of the few times where you actually get to see it happen to the character, where it's so visceral, and yeah, I don't know. I think, and I don't feel like I'm like I'm weird for even thinking it's meant to be disturbing and uncomfortable. So like the fact that it does make me uncomfortable is like that's what it was meant to do. But yeah, I don't know. It was just an interesting choice, I guess, of just how to depict it because you could do the whole thing of just like have it be in flashbang like bangs of just like like handcuffed kind of thing, and then like you kind of like you could go behind the door
Yeah,
and
I was
like
gonna
hear
say,
screams or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, and then but like to show like the full thing, I was like it's a choice, and like I just wonder why. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that goes back to my silence point, I think, on Fincher. Like in these scenes, especially the one in his office, I think, like when he slowly comes around, because that's the first time, right?
Yeah,
This when she goes
yeah,
to his house, like she goes in expecting not that. She even said she like, I just thought it
yeah,
was gonna be another blowjob, which is bad
yeah,
enough. But like so she didn't expect
mhm,
that. But she expected still to be forced to do something she didn't want to do.
yeah,
Whereas the first time she didn't know that that was going to be a thing. So he slowly walks around the desk, takes that
yeah,
position of power over her. They're shooting him from the bottom. So he's like standing on top of the camera. She's sitting down from below. So like,
mhm,
and my point about silence, like there's no music playing, there's no background noise, there's not a whole lot of like camera movement or anything. It's like, no, we're just going to sit here and we're just going to watch the real, visceral, raw action of what's happening. And the way it
mhm.
slowly happens in the office, like he takes her hand, and then when he just looks at her, he's like,
Yeah, no, that's
and like,
crazy.
oh my God, just terrible.
Yeah, no, no, it really is. Um, but yeah, I guess that's all I really have. I don't know if you have any other. Well,
Uh,
I know you do have.
yeah, I
You
do.
have something, but I don't know if you have any other points.
I do have a parlay that we're gonna get to, but before that, I have one last point on Fincher. I want to give him. Uh, I mean, it kind of goes to my science point too, but it's just moments of Fincher in his bag, like when Michael is going through the police reports for
Mhm.
the first time. They send all the reports to his cottage, and he's highlighting lines as the corresponding flashback happens, that was cool.
Yeah. No, it was,
Um, Henrik, when he tells Michael, "Don't worry, I'll give you what you actually want." Yeah, I'll pay you, but I'll give you what you want. Wennerstrom, as he slides the carcass literally on a silver platter over to him, I was like, okay, nice.
yeah, that's
I
good.
like that. And last, or I got two actually more. The feeling of uncertainty when Lisbeth is at Vanger Industries. I guess I kind of mentioned this already when she's going through the
Mm.
files and like there's that woman that's trying to limit her. Like I just that feeling of like what's gonna happen, I thought was really, really great. I think the way that he shoots her, she's at the end of like a long hallway of shelves. So like you feel like I mean, in any library or anything like this, you know, there's so many like little corners that people could hide in, right? So like easily someone could have jumped out and grabbed her or something. So like the feeling that he created in that scene when she's literally just like sitting there going through files, she goes and gets coffee, stuff like that. Nothing crazy happens, but like I just felt so nervous throughout. I thought that was really well done. And finally, the oh no, my last point was the silence of the sexual assault scenes, like the unapologetic direction of that, like I
Okay.
just talked about. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
think there was those specific moments I really thought he did great in.
Yeah. No, yeah. He definitely knows how to tap into those taps into the feelings through his visual choices and sound. Why I always wonder how much he works with the sound team. He's such a perfectionist. I'm sure he's in
Yeah,
everyone's department,
yeah.
to be honest. But no, those are great examples. He definitely was in his bag on all four, three of those. No, all four of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So parlay time. I got a 3-leg parlay, 3 bets on the slip, all over unders. Let's see if you can hit on this parlay. We're gonna jump right into it. First, how many brothers or sisters, how many siblings are in Henrik's generation in the family tree? I googled the family tree. You know, he was explaining, "Oh, this is my cousin, this is my aunt, this is my brother, whatever." It's very confusing, but I'm setting the over under at 4.5. How many siblings are in his? So including Henrik, how many kids?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go under 4.5.
Okay.
This is a guess. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's I
So
really didn't know, and like I said, I had to Google
okay.
that. How
All
many
right.
confirmed victims did Gottfried kill? So like on her list, you know, like the list that
Mhm.
Harriet had of the how many confirmed victims did he kill? Over under 6.5.
Over 6.5.
Over
I'm gonna
6.5.
say over 6.5. That sounds right to me.
Okay.
Feels right.
Um, how much money does Lisbeth steal from Wenstrom in the end in Krona? So like when she goes and the guy like punches it in on the calculator, and he shows her the number.
Mm.
Over under 3 billion.
Over 3 billion.
Over 3 billion.
I'm trying to remember the what it looked on that calculator, but I'm feeling confident over 3 billion.
Over 3 billion. All right.
Okay.
You have not hit your parlay.
Damn it.
That's a no. That's a no.
Damn, man.
You
How did I do?
you got one. You got 1 out of 3.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm kind of curious what the one was. All right. What was the?
Which
Well,
one do you
let's go
feel
through.
most
Let's go back
confident
through
in?
it.
What do you think you got right?
The second one,
The
the
second one?
kills. That's what I feel more confident in.
No, the kills was under on that list anyways. There was 5 on that list. On her
Damn.
list. There was 5 on that list. You took the over 6.5. How many siblings are in Henrik's generation? You took under 4.5. There are 5. There are 5 of
Damn.
them. And how much money does Elizabeth steal from the bank or from Wenstrom? Over 3 billion. You are correct. 3.2 billion.
That one I felt pretty confident about actually, because I feel like I remember was the number that was sitting on there.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, no, I felt right about it too. The first one I was like, I don't remember
Just a
this
guess.
at all.
Yeah.
Just a straight up guess. The other two I felt like there was some kind of there was something, but clearly not.
Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely does actually kill more than 6.5 people.
Mm,
We just don't really know. Like, there's probably
yeah,
some, like, even Martin. He's like, I've killed a bunch of people, and we just don't know about so many of them. We know about
yeah,
one that we know was in the house when they were having dinner, and I guess technically that's it. To be honest, we don't even know
yeah.
about
That
any
is
others.
true. Well, next
Next
time,
time,
ladies and gentlemen.
that's right.
All right. Well, that being said, I
I
think it's time.
I guess it's time for the filmies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Filmies. This is our award show that we're going to do. We got 6 awards that we came up with, 6 Filmies, and we're going to start right away with the fit check. Best or worst fit of the movie. Who gets your fit check?
So I gave it to young Henrik,
Hmm.
and it's he was rocking like this blue button up with a red scarf, gray cardigan, dress pants. It was just I knew it was gonna be from that original flashback because everyone was dressed up for that original party before. What was that party for again? Was it just like a family reunion thing? I actually forget the origins.
No,
No, it's birthday or
it
anything.
was
Right?
something. It was like he said at the start, it was like an annual something where we go over business for the family
Okay.
business, and then we have a dinner, and I don't remember exactly what it
Okay.
was, but it was for something.
Okay, yeah. Well, I gave it to young Hendrik for that because Henrik because I like that fit. This is just it's very simple. It's just dressing up at a party, but
Mm-hmm.
I think the red scarf was doing the work for me, and I kind of like the cardigan. I always like when they have like the what do you call it?
Or like an
The little
elbow
the
patch.
elbow pads. Yeah, the elbow patch. There's a name for it. I guess
Is
I should
there?
have
I
looked
don't
it up,
actually
but
know.
I don't know. I'm looking at the picture right now, so then I'm looking at other elements that I like about it, but I didn't actually look up what that specific material or that thing is called. But I
I
was
just call
feeling
it an
that
elbow
fit.
patch. Yeah, I don't
Just
know.
call it an elbow patch. All right.
All
Maybe
right.
you knew. So,
No, I didn't.
but I think that's my fit check. What about you though? Who got your fit check?
I gave it to Lisbeth, and
Okay.
it's when Michael comes over to her place for the first time. She has to like kick that girl out, and it's just her ripped shirt that says "fuck you, you fucking fuck." It's just
Yeah, I know.
fantastic.
I did notice that shirt. That's a good shirt. Well, I was confused at first because you were like, when he first came over, I'm like, what outfit was she wearing?
Yeah, she's basically naked. That's the fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. That's crazy fit check, but now I understand what you're picking, and yeah, that's a great pick because that
Yeah,
shirt. When I saw that, it's something that's just like again another attention to detail thing. Is that even in the book? I don't know.
I
That is like a
doubt it.
funny shirt that Fincher saw and is like, yeah, the character could wear that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
very on brand for Lisbeth,
It
and
is.
I just saw that and I was like, that's fantastic. And like, there's not a ton of fits going on in this movie, so as soon as I saw
Yeah.
that, I was like, that's an easy choice for me.
No, that's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Next, we got our Ferris Bueller Award. This is our lazy award. So, who was the laziest person in this movie, Dion?
So I gave mine to Stag Larson. I think that's how you say the guy's name. The guy that
That's the
actually wrote the
author,
book.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is the author. Yeah. And to me, maybe this is more of like a Fincher thing, the way it displayed in the flashback of 40 years, but the car crash, I don't know. To me, when I saw the aftermath of that car crash, I was like, how do two cars collide like this on a bridge? Doesn't make any sense at all to me. How does a truck sideways and the car completely facing it? I was like, and that because like that's the big reason why nobody could have been able to leave. I'm like,
Yeah.
could have been a better reason because like that just looks so ridiculous. That truck would have ate up that car. Like, why did the car completely flip over the truck? How fast could they have possibly been going on that bridge? And
Mm-hmm.
it's such a tight space that like that yeah, that when I saw that, I was just like, this looks ridiculous. This is how did this even happen?
That's such a good point. I didn't think of it at all because I was just like, okay, there was a car crash on the bridge and they can't leave the island, sure. And I just like left it at that. But like, you're totally right. Like, how did this happen? How is it sideways? Like, did you try to swerve out of the way of something? but then it hit another car. Like it just, yeah,
It
it
doesn't
just
make any
doesn't. It
sense.
doesn't make sense.
There's only 2 cars there, and it's just like the bridge is so tight.
Yeah,
There's no swerving out of the way. It almost feels like there's probably like this much of a gap in between cars. It's just like, how did this even happen? How did the car pin a truck to like side? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It was just, I don't understand.
And why is there this whole gasoline truck going onto the island? What do you? Isn't it just houses there? Like, what is? They must leave the island to like gas up their cars and stuff. Why do you need a whole tanker going to your island?
I don't know, and that's why it was just so. That's why I gave it to the writer, because I'm just like, what? I feel like this wasn't really thought through that hard, and like we just accepted it, but because we're doing this podcast, I had to find something to just not accept.
Yeah,
and that I just don't accept.
This is basically the nitpick portion of the episode. So like, it's a good nitpick.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense for me, so I just had to give him a fairness for that, because it's just, I feel like there's a better way to have people not have left the island. It's a more plausible reason, to be honest.
Sure,
that just felt just very much like,
don't have a bridge,
car
make
crash.
it only like accessible by boat, and then the boat, there was a storm or something. Like it's,
or it could have been like one of the. Well, actually, that's too long ago. I was gonna say, actually, I don't know. When was it? When did we get those bridges that could like, like go like this and then close up? Like
definitely by 2011. Definitely.
No, but like this was 40 years ago. The crash.
Yeah, right. I still think they probably had those.
So then there could have been like a thing where it's just like, the weather fucked up the bridge where it couldn't come back down.
Yeah.
So like everybody that couldn't come in and cannot come out because of that. But just like this weird crash that just like perfectly blocked the bridge.
Yeah.
Like was just.
But at the same time, then, if you do that, because she also has to leave the island. You know, like it's revealed that she does leave, like she sneaks off in the trunk of the car, right? And that was another thing, actually, I forgot to ask you.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about that in the deep dive. Well, let's talk about it right now. So it confused me a little bit. I understand it, but it confused me a little bit. So she hides for the night.
Yeah.
The next day, goes to leave the island. She's in the trunk of the car, and then she immediately goes from there like to the airport and leaves right away, because like they said, Anita left. She said she didn't want to be here, so she moved to London, and so she went with her, and they both like pretended to be the same person basically until she died. I get that, but like, did Anita, when she took her across the bridge, they both left immediately? Like if not, where did she stay until they left to London? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that is a good point. And just like, how did she leave? Like she had, like, what was her passport? Like she just used her passport and then sent it back, and then she used the.
There's a little piece of dialogue where I think I guess it's Harriet, who was pretending to be Anita.
Yeah.
She says like Anita was married, so she had a passport like in her married name and one in her maiden name. So she pretended to be her with her maiden name, and then she went with her maiden name, and Anita went with her husband. And remember, she said to her husband, like, I need you to do this. Don't ask me. If you love me, you'll do this and won't ask any questions. And that's what he did. So I think she pretended to be her husband's wife. But like, I don't think you can have 2 passports. I don't think that's the way it works. So like,
yeah, maybe back then you could have.
Yeah, maybe.
Give them some grace that maybe in the because I always just, sometimes I just talk up to things like, it was the 60s or whatever. So maybe you actually could, because I think people were just less like really looking into it. There wasn't that, the airport wasn't that crazy back then, where just they were looking hard into everything.
Pre 9/11,
good enough. Yeah, exactly. So it was like good enough.
Yeah,
couldn't get away with that now, but. Yeah, it is funny. We never talked about the whole, like the actual reveal that Harriet's still alive and everything. Yeah,
I did have a point about this too. I was like, the final answer was cool, like that she was still alive. I didn't necessarily see that coming. Dark as fuck though. Like with her childhood, the final, like what her dad was doing to her, and then
her brother.
Yeah, and then he took him out, and she was like, the sad thing, like all I did was substitute one for another. And then the whole thing with the parade, then she sees him and she's like, oh, I thought it was finally, he was gone. Like I was safe. And then that whole triggering thing is what triggered her to finally like run away. Crazy.
Yeah, insane, man. And I like God bless Henrik's soul. I hope she doesn't tell. I don't know if his heart can handle that. Actually learning the truth. It's
Yeah,
probably just better off he doesn't know what actually happened.
well, what do you think is gonna happen? So they reunite. He hugs her, and you don't think he's gonna ask, "Where have you been? Like, why did you leave?"
Well, I don't know if in full detail if she should tell him. This man literally just had a heart issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if his heart can handle all that truth of just like, damn, like I could have helped you, and then he'd just be kaput. But speaking of Knives Out, also too, there's another connection to Knives Out.
Yeah, she's in Knives Out, right?
No. Henrik.
Oh, Henrik.
He's the
yeah,
one.
He's the dad.
He's the one that gets killed in Knives Out.
Yeah.
It's not a spoiler. That's literally the opening scene, but
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
you're
story. But another Knives Out connection.
See, I think though, like she would have to tell him. She'd have to tell him like something.
Yeah, she would have to
I
tell him
don't know.
something.
Tell him
I
something.
don't know. But what was your Ferris?
Oh yeah, my Ferris Bueller, my lazy award. I gave to Michael, and another super nitpicky thing. It's for not naming the cat. So there, the cat like comes in and he starts hanging out with this cat, and there's a specific point where he picks up like the empty food bowl from outside and he opens the door and he just goes, "Cat!" Like he calls for it. And so when that happened, I was like, oh, so he didn't name this cat. So he's just been hanging out with this guy and he just calls it Cat. Like that's name the cat.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think maybe it's one of those things where it's just like, well, this cat's been around for a while. It's not going to respond to a name, but I don't know if it's going to respond to cat either because that's also just a name. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like cat, I think you could call it Charlie and it'll probably respond the same way.
Exactly.
It's just responding to your voice at the end of the day. Just so similar.
Yeah.
There's one thing too. Now they're on the cat. What happened to the cat was so messed up and unexpected. I did not. His reaction though took me out though because I wasn't ready for that. He's opened the door. He's just like, "Fuck," and I'm just like, "What happened?"
And she comes out. She's totally chill about it. Just takes a picture.
Yeah, just takes pictures
like
of the it. It's like formed in a swastika.
Yeah.
The cat's.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
dude.
God,
like at first when I didn't notice that at first. I first saw it. I was like, oh, someone killed the cat. Like I mean, as soon as he opens the door and has a reaction, I was like, okay, I think someone killed the cat. And then like I took a second. I was like, wait a second. Did they like break his legs to like put it in the shape of a swastika? Jesus Christ.
That's so messed up.
That is so messed up.
So messed up, man.
And also another thing, it's kind of like, I guess it's connected to the cat and it's Michael, so I'm going to tack it on to my lazy award, but it's also kind of just like a runner-up thing. But like when he sees the cat for the first time, he lets it in the window, and then he checks the fridge like for milk. I'm like, you just got to this house. Why would there be milk in the fridge? Like, what do you even?
That is a good point.
Just
that is a good point. I don't know why he expected. It's like, well, there's nothing else in here, but there's got to be milk.
Yeah.
If they're gonna have me do an investigation,
I need
a fridge of milk.
Exactly. I was like, why would there be milk in there? Like he opens it and then he's like a little disappointed. I'm like, what did you expect?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't even give you a fire, bro. They did him real dirty on that first night. This man was freezing his ass. He had to rip some books apart just to heat his own ass. Like, I don't know what.
I mean, figure it out, man. There was firewood.
Yeah, that is true. But damn, I think he expected a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just because of how rich the family is.
Yeah.
That they didn't think they'd have him be slumming it like that.
Yeah,
I think that was just his.
Henrik was like, oh, I got a nice little cottage for you. Cold as fuck, though.
Yeah, exactly. Whose cat was that? That's their island. That had to have been someone's cat. No, just a cat ended up on the island. I guess it's possible, but
yeah, I don't know. I guess I just chalked it up to a stray, I suppose. But like in Swedish winter, like how was it surviving?
I don't know. Well, now I just got to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, true.
But
it's not surviving anymore.
But good Ferris Bueller.
Thank you.
Took us a long way to get there. We had to go back into the plot of and
we totally
the actual reveal of the movie.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy point for us both to just completely skip. But hey,
yeah,
we got there. Okay, next we have our favorite quote. We have a. Well, let's go quote first. What was your favorite quote?
Yeah, it could be whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So quote. You're saying?
Yeah, go quote.
Okay, so my quote I gave to Martin. and it's kind of a long quote, but just basically it's I chopped it up just in the main points of his whole like, kind of like his monologue when he's like, why don't people trust their instincts? You knew something was wrong. It's like, did I force you? Did I drag you? No. All I had to do was offer you a drink. And I just like that quote because it really ties into like the whole scene of just like it was very unease. This guy just escaped and he has this mindset of like, okay, I think this is the guy. You're out, you have your out basically. He doesn't really know that you were just in his house. You kind of assume like maybe he caught on to me, but like, I'm gonna play this off of like I was climbing up.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have been like, you know what? Nah, I'm going home. He's like, but then it's exactly as soon as he says like, hey, you want a drink? You're just like, yeah, no, whatever. It's like, wait, what? Why, dude? Like, you think this guy could be the killer, and now you're gonna be at a disadvantage if you go back into the house.
Yeah.
Trust your instinct.
Yeah.
But wow, I got it. Like, it's like almost like he's being too Canadian. Oh, like, well, he did offer me a drink. I should go back. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
nah, dog. What are you doing?
That's the first part of the quote is like, like polite, like people fear politeness over danger or something like that, and it's like,
yeah,
it doesn't. I don't feel so much like it's a movie thing because I feel like in real life that could happen, and because 100% people are like, I don't want to offend you, so I'll just do this thing. Like, what's the big deal? I'll go in and have this drink, whatever. But like when the consequence is dying, I feel like it's like, come on, dog. Like you can offend the guy. Who cares? Like if you're right and he is the killer, he's not believing you're fucking I'm out for a walk right now. He's not believing that shit. So like if you're right and he's the killer, he then knows that you're onto him. So he's gonna do something about it. So like offend him. Leave.
yeah.
Like, no. Come on, bro.
Maybe there's that off thing, like because we do know this character has like this. There is this one aspect of him that's just like, well, I was wrong about the one thing in my other life.
True.
So like on the off chance this guy isn't, let me go have a drink with him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like maybe still in that moment, I'd been like,
maybe tomorrow.
I'm kind of tired. Yeah. Maybe when the lights are out, maybe there's some witnesses. Maybe we can get back together.
Yeah, it just wasn't the smartest move. But I do like the quote. Like that whole monologue was a really good moment. Like the character totally flips, right? He's not putting on a facade anymore. He even says he's like, even people when they're in the position and they know that they're out of hope, but they're still pleading and they still hope that something can happen, and just so creepy. So creepy.
Yeah, no, it is very creepy. What about you?
My quote,
sorry.
I gave to Henrik. At the beginning, when he's pitching the case to Michael, he wants him to take the case. And he says, you will be investigating thieves, misers, bullies, the most detestable collection of people you will ever meet, my family. And I just like, I like at this point of the story, I didn't know that it had to do anything with his family yet. Like I came in pretty blind into this movie. So I thought maybe it was going to be like people in the business world. Like when he starts the quote, you're going to be investigating thieves, bullies, like, because the movie started with Wenstrom, right? And he's like, okay, he's laundering money for terrorists and stuff. So like, and we know that Henrik was the ex-CEO of this massive company. So I thought it was maybe like a business competition thing. They killed his daughter because I don't know, like a hostage situation to get him to back out of a deal or something. You know what I mean? So like, he's like thieves, misers, bullies. I thought he was going to go business. And then he said, my family. And I just wasn't expecting it. And then the line itself is just like, damn, that's a tough thing to say about your family.
No, that's a good quote. That was actually in my runner-up quote because it was unexpected to me as well. And it's just kind of a bar.
Yeah.
To be honest. It is a bar.
Yeah.
No, it's a great quote.
Next, we got our Peyton Pritchard Award. This is our sixth man, someone with a small role that did the most with that small opportunity. Who gets your sixth man?
I took it very literal in this, like storyline wise. It wasn't really like an actor or an actress that had a moment where I was like, oh, they really stood out in that moment. It's literally just this person is Pernilla. So it's Michael's daughter. She opened up the case. Like with her being
Blew
like,
wide
"Oh, be
open.
easy on the yeah, be easy on the cast." What are you talking about? It's like, "Oh, those Bible, like those Bible quotes that you put up there," and I was like, that literally opened because otherwise these names like, what are these names and these numbers? That completely flipped the case.
Hmm.
So her Lily in that moment after, I was like, okay, this is why she's even in the movie.
Pretty much,
Because up
yeah.
until because besides that, it's like, okay, he's got a religious daughter and like, why? Like, because
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna come more and more into the movie. It's the last time we see her, so that was very much like this is why she was in the movie. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that kind of goes to the shallow character of Michael, I guess, is like this
Yeah,
is on his storyline. This is his daughter. Why is like this isn't telling us anything about him or anything? Like he has a daughter, okay, whatever. You're right. That's why she's in the movie. But that's that's the whole thing. This is the whole reason. That's her small role in the entire story, and she kills it. So she is also my six man.
hey,
That's a certified six man because I mean you're totally right. It's just like she blew the case wide open. They would not have solved it without her.
no,
She and on top of that, she seems like a great daughter, man. She was always like, you know what? She asked about, oh, my mom's worried about money, but she wasn't like on him about it. She came to visit him. That's how the whole thing happened. Like, she's just a good daughter too.
yeah, and he's like, I should probably visit you more. And
Yeah, you
I
should.
mean, obviously, he's got to. Yeah, will he? Will he in those next two books? Probably not.
No,
Probably not.
no,
Because we were realizing Michael's not the best guy,
exactly.
but shout out to his daughter.
Shout out
Shout
to
out
his
to his daughter.
daughter.
I'll put that on the moms. The moms did a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just shitting on Michael now as a father. Also,
Yeah.
I
Hey,
mean,
do
maybe
it.
I should. Like, he hasn't been the greatest. Like outside case, he's not the greatest guy. Maybe it was his personal relationships.
Does she know, do you think, that he is with the other woman, like the other editor of the magazine? Do you think she knows that?
I don't know. I guess it's not common knowledge because it doesn't seem like everyone else really knows. They don't hide it that much though.
That's what I
'Cause
was
even in that
thinking.
open, yeah, like they're out and about, and even like in the first like kind of like opening scenes when she goes in the office, they're just like kissing and stuff. I'm like, you guys are at work.
Yeah,
Like people could just be walking by and stuff like that. That's
I
crazy.
thought the exact same thing. Then they're at this like dinner party, and her husband's there, and like, but he said his marriage fell apart from it, so obviously his wife found out about it,
Yeah,
and they just said like just don't tell her husband about it.
I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
guess she's like, okay, it's not my business. That's their relationship. Who cares? But that's just kind of weird.
It is kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh well. Next we have our best scene. What was your favorite scene?
So my scene, it's kind of like a long, extended scene, but I guess I'll shorten it up to just kind of Michael breaking in to the to Martin's house,
Mm.
and then I was gonna say and going back in, but I'll just shorten it to like the scene that we kind of said kind of felt like Zodiac, like he's kind of going through the house. It's very unease. We got Lisbeth that's also in the library figuring stuff at the same time, and and then we see Martin coming over to the cabin, and like he's kind of like seeing like, okay, is this guy, we're assuming he's thinking, is this guy on to me, let me go check in on this guy. And it's just that tension of like, all right, well, this guy could come back at any time, and then he does come back in, and it's like, damn, how am I gonna get out of here? And like he notices like the little whistle that we heard from earlier with a door being open, which I don't know why
Another
he left the
possible
door
Ferris
open.
Bueller.
Yeah, that is.
Close the door,
Why did he
bro.
leave the door open? Yeah, like he's thinking like if I close the door, I won't be able to get back out. It's not how doors work when you're inside the place.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're outside the place, you won't be able to get back in, but you're in the place.
Or
I
the
did.
Ferris Bueller could even go to Martin for leaving the back door unlocked. I guess you're on an island.
Yeah.
Like what's gonna happen? But you have a murder room in the basement. Like maybe lock your doors.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of the Ferris Buells that could have been thrown around, but yeah, I almost want to retrospective give it back to Michael. Yeah, why did he leave the door open? Like what?
Laziness.
There is really no reason.
Laziness.
I guess
He just
What
was. He was
about
just too
you?
lazy
No,
to close the door. No, but that is a good
that's
scene.
my favorite scene.
Yeah, it is
That
a good
my
scene.
favorite
Like
scene.
you're right. The comparison to like Zodiac, just the uneasiness, because he could be in the house. We don't know that he's not. You know, when he
True.
pulls up, then we're like, okay, now he's outside. but that then adds more tension. Like, okay, he's going to come in the house, but like when he first gets in there, we don't know. I guess he calls out, he asks for Martin, but like if he is the killer, he could have been in the kill room in the basement. You know, he could have. We didn't know. So like, you're right. I was definitely feeling tense. That was a cheek clencher. My best scene, I gave to a small scene actually. It's when Michael comes to Lisbeth's apartment when she's wearing that "fuck you" shirt,
Yeah.
and I think this is the first time that we see them together, that they meet each other. I think they have a great dynamic between them. So I really like that we see this for the first time here. Like he's pissed about her hacking his computer, but is also impressed that she did it. And so like he's here to get her to help on the case, right? So that's why he's like, okay, I know obviously she's good at this because she did it to me, but I'm also a little bit pissed about it. um she's super prepared to like defend herself. She has a weapon, right? And then he's like, no, don't worry, I'm not going to touch you. Like on brand for her because of what we just saw happen to her. So I like that was in there, that like she doesn't just have this guy force herself into her place and she's okay with it. There's even the other girl that was with her, and she asked like, do you want me to stay? And she says, no, you're good. um I also like the way she perks up Lisbeth when he says to her, I need your help to find a killer of women, because
Mm.
that's like her whole arc, right? She's being abused. She's had all this trouble past. She sees all these crimes against women. She's like, so he says, "Oh, we're finding a killer against women." She's like, "Oh yeah,
Mm.
I'm in. I'm a girl's girl. I am a killer of women. I'm down. Let's take them out." Um, and the final thing that I really like about it, when so he gives her all the information, like this is this person, this is what happened. He insists that like she takes the case files. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go search some stuff. He's like, take the files. And she's like, no, I got it. He's like, no, like take them. And she takes them and then just drops them immediately. I was like, oh, this is like everything was just so on brand for their characters, and I feel like the dynamic was so good, and we learned so much about them in this tiny little scene without like just saying it out loud. I really like that.
Yeah, no, that's good. That part was really funny too. That part made me laugh. Like
Yeah.
her finally agreeing to take them and then just throwing them and just like, I told you I don't want these. Like, stop giving it to me. That's absolutely that's great. That's a good scene. I do like that scene too. That's like you said, it's a small scene. I think it is underrated as what it did for, because we're really getting these characters to meet for the first time. Like it's a big part of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a good dynamic of having these two the characters that we've been following for like an hour at this point.
Yeah, that's why I think it was so cool, because we've been following both of them separately. We know at some point that they're going to get together, and this is the scene. And for me, like it actually, like they took advantage of it and taught us a lot about them in the scene. Added in a little joke, a cool "fuck you" shirt, just a whole bunch of a whole bunch of great stuff has happened in this scene. Whole bunch of
Yeah,
great stuff.
no, it's good. Good scene. Great
Last
scene.
but not least, we have our MVP award. Who gets your MVP?
I gave it to Stellan Skarsgard,
Martin.
and yeah, it's mostly for the final monologue, like
Mm,
in the final scene. Like
that's
I
good.
thought, and not even just the monologue too. I guess even like leading into them going into the kill room and him, just the way he flipped, because I think the way, because we talked about throughout the movie how he came across as the helper and someone that was definitely on our side, like our character's side. He wasn't a red herring. Didn't feel like, oh, this guy's, I don't know about this guy. It never really felt like, oh, where was this guy at that moment? Didn't feel like we were constantly looking at him. It always like seemed like he was the one on the side of the family. I mean, I mean, sorry, he was one of the people in the family that was on his side,
Mm-hmm.
especially even as like Henrik was in the hospital and they're like, oh, just end the case, end this, and he was like, no, I think he should stay. Like I feel like he was always on the side, and then to get that flip, and when we were getting that tension of him being like, I'll put my knife back or whatever, and he slows to bring him down, and then he has that monologue. I just thought he was so phenomenal in those moments. So I wanted to give him some love for that. And I still was teetering on the fact how I said that I still processing this film, I feel like. So I didn't want to give it to Fincher because of that. And I was even saying how it's not my top five, so I'd feel weird giving him my MVP with all saying all that. But I also felt like Skarsgård showed out.
Yeah,
So I want
that's
to give him some love.
I totally agree. He really did, and I read that he something that really interested him about the role was that he kind of got to play like two characters almost, like when he's putting
Mhm.
on the facade of being helpful and all that stuff, and then when he gets to have this monologue, like he's a totally different person. Like he can reveal his true self, I suppose. And yeah, I think he totally killed it. That monologue is very memorable, and I wonder though, like as you were breaking it down, like why he would like when they're at the hospital and they're like, all right, yeah, stop this investigation. Why would he push to keep it going? Like I get when if you're being helpful to throw him off your scent, but like if you have the option to like just stop this, why would you not try to do that?
Yeah, like maybe do it in like a lighter way, where it's just like, man, you've been working really hard, man. But like,
Maybe
yeah, I
they're
think,
right. Yeah.
yeah, maybe they are right. Yeah, like lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, he went the exact opposite way, which is, yeah, it is an interesting choice because you do think back to a lot of things he was saying, where he's just like, but you know what it is? Maybe it's the fact that because he actually does want, because he knows that he didn't kill his sister, and that's what it's really about at the end of the
Mm,
day, right? So like he
that's
does
true.
want to know. He does want to know who killed his sister.
That's
So
true.
I guess there is an element of him that actually does want him to stay. He wants to know what
Yeah.
happened
Yeah, you're right. That is a good point.
because he never knows. He never finds
Yeah.
out at the end of the day.
Yeah, he gets blown up before he finds out. True.
Which another interesting choice too, because I wonder. I'm like, yeah,
So like
yeah,
when
go.
he before he goes to the his house at the end and they go down to the kill room and all that, we see like on the or like Lisbeth sees on the security cameras that he was at Michael's house.
Mm.
Was he going to kill him?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good
Like
question.
did he
And how
feel
would
like
he
he was getting
explain
too
that?
close to him or cuz like the whole thing with the cat, what even I'm guessing he did that.
Yeah,
Why
and also we
did he
found out
even
he's
do
the one that
that?
shot at him too.
Yeah, true. So like obviously he's
What?
I guess getting on to him, so he's trying to get him off the case. So
Yeah,
maybe it's not like oh, I do want you to find out what happened to my sister. Like he's trying to get rid of him.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, stay here so I can kill you. But my thing is like, what would that not draw more attention if that guy that's like investigating ends up dying on your island? Like, who else would have killed him?
Mm.
So then it's like, oh, maybe it was someone in this family that ended up doing something. Because
But then what was he
why is
going to
this
his house
someone's?
for?
I don't know. Just to talk to him, get more information. Like, so how's the case going?
Mm.
Because he did ask him again, like, how's it going? So
Yeah.
he's just trying to see like how close you getting. And then the fact that he was so uncomfortable, I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
see how close you're getting.
Yeah, exactly.
You found out something. That's another shout out to Michael. Dog, come on.
Yeah.
Like
Come
you
up
were
with
like
something.
not even, it was just so clear that you think he's the killer. Like, or
Yeah.
just he's up to something. Like you couldn't even look the man in his
Yeah.
eyes.
Nothing new to report? Nothing. Nope, not a damn thing.
Like,
Like just say like,
damn.
oh, like we've been, we found these names and we found out that one of the numbers is attached to a guy on the Upper West Side and we're looking into it. Come up
Yeah,
with some bullshit.
do the half truths thing, yo. Like in freaking, actually, I want to say what movie, but that being said,
Do better.
who was your MVP?
My MVP, I gave to Rooney Mara, who plays Lisbeth. I
Mm,
love the way she played this character. I think it was a really rangy performance, actually. Like she's vulnerable with the social worker, like in the scenes where he has the power, and then completely flips it, and she has the power over him in some scenes. Um, I think she's also very. I mean, the character is, but the way she plays it, like she's very to herself and reserved, but also not unlikable. Even when she's demanding access to like the files to the worker, like she's kind of being a dick about it, right? She's like, no, I like
yeah,
he told me that I need access to everything I need, and this is what I need. She's like, okay, but those are locked files. Well, she's like, okay, then call him. Go call the guy. Like, I need to get this stuff. Like, she's kind of being an ass about it, but not so much that like we don't want to root for her. Like, she's still likable. Some of that I attribute also to what happened to her. So like
hmm
no matter what she does, she's not going to be worse than the guy that did that stuff to her, so we're always going to be rooting for her a little bit. But I think some of that was in the performance as well. Like when she's like smoking when she's not supposed to, like she
Yeah.
in the train, like there's the sign right there that says don't smoke, and she lights up a cigarette. When Michael says, oh, I actually don't like to smoke in the house, and she just continues talking like she didn't even hear it. Like little stuff like that with a lot of characters, you'd be like, why are you being an ass? But
Yeah.
I don't know, she just does it in such a way that like it's so tame that I'm just like, oh,
Mhm.
like you're okay. I still like you, And then
Yeah.
I also read that most of the bruising in the shower after the sexual assault was actually real from filming that scene the day before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So apparently, like,
Damn.
because they had to, like, the actor of the social worker, he had to actually, like, obviously, like, get on top of her, grab her, like, do all
Yeah.
these things. So she actually was getting roughed up for it. So like obviously I'm sure they added some makeup and stuff, but a lot of that
Mhm.
bruising was actually real.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, to everything you said, and even just like having to portray that kind of, because that's the crazy thing at the end of the day. Like that's so uncomfortable for a lot of people. The people acting in it,
Mm-hmm.
like her, people have to record it and all this thing. Everyone just like it's probably such a thought out process because it's like, well, we're not. This is definitely not a Fincher special. We're not recording this 100 times. Like,
No,
let's just get
exactly.
this.
Yeah.
Let's do this and let's
I
get
hope
on
not at
with it.
least.
Like, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Good
hopefully not.
Lord.
Because yeah, it's a.
Make sure the intimacy coordinator's on set that
Oh
day.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
make
No,
sure
hundred
everything's
percent.
above board. Yeah. Cause like she's literally like, he's literally ripping her underwear off. She's literally naked.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like if I saw a scene like that from like early Hollywood, man, I'd be cringing at just what
Oh yeah.
probably
No,
actually
hundred
happened
percent.
in real life.
Yeah. No. Absolutely insane. But I agree with a lot with what you said on her depiction of the character, and I felt similar even in the early scenes because there was none of that yet. So like she was kind of like people were like, oh, nice to meet you, and she's like wouldn't respond, or like people put their hands on, she wouldn't say anything. So you kind of be like, okay, well this person doesn't trust, and I'm sure there's even more background to that of like why she um doesn't trust like men or just
Hmm.
just like certain people in positions of power and just in general, where she's like, but and then obviously she gets assaulted, and then you understand like every action that she has. But I'm sure there's definitely something that happened to that even ended her in this position that she's in, for her to be that way towards the rest of the world. So that's a great pick.
That's a really good
She
point,
was.
actually. I mean, at the end, it gets revealed that she tried to burn her father alive, right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, like I assume, anyways, I'm led to believe that I think he probably abused her as well. So that's why
Yeah.
she did that. Like I don't think she would just do that. Also,
No,
like
exactly.
with the whole feeling and like what's happening in this movie, that's definitely not out of the picture. Like we saw, that's
Yeah.
what's happened to Harriet, and I'm sure other people in the family as well. All the other victims of the girls, when they're going through, she raped and killed, like. So
Yeah.
my guess is that that's what her father was doing to her. So that's why she tried to kill him, and then, like you said, then sent her down this path of foster care and like all these bad situations. But you also make a good point about like even before we see her get assaulted, we don't know anything, that we don't know about her troubled past really. We know she's been through foster care, but like we don't know that of all that bad stuff, so we're not rooting for her that much yet. But to me, she's still not unlikable when she's being kind of a dick, and I think that's
Hmm.
just like it's maybe it's because she's doing that to everybody. Like if she was selective, like no, I don't like you, then you'd be like, oh well, why don't you like that guy? You know what I mean? But like no, this is just the way she is. She's just like I keep my distance, and I'm not like rude about it. But it also is kind of rude, like you said, someone puts their hand on the shaking. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. I just like I thought she played it super well. Like how do you play a character that's being rude but not unlikable? I don't even know how to explain it.
I don't know what it is. It's just, I guess it's just an aura about her, and the fact that we know this movie's called The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So you're like, well, she's got her reasons, though. you're already on board for. And then after the movie's done, you realize I'm like, okay, it's definitely a big reason why the movie's called that, because she is the most interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
You see Daniel Craig on the cover and you think maybe it's gonna be a 1-in-1. It's not a 1-in-1.
No,
She's an interesting character. Daniel Craig is a character, but it's not really about him.
no, exactly.
Not at all, really, to be honest.
And my last little fact to shout her out is she actually got all of those piercings.
Oh, damn.
And she removed them after filming, but she said she kept the nipple piercing in case they had possible sequels, because she said it's not something I want to get re-pierced. You get like the cartilage or whatever, and then you got to. So that one I imagine would be like really painful if she had to get all the other ones. Maybe not so bad or something, but like I've assumed they were mostly fake, but she got all those piercings.
Yeah, same. I feel like there's not even really a reason to get real ones.
Yeah, okay. But that's what I mean, man. So she played it well, the commitment to the role, all this stuff, like hell yeah.
Yeah, she went full Heath Ledger with it, man. Well, I shouldn't say full Heath Ledger, but she really tapped in to the commitment. It's interesting too, because we were talking about The Social Network. She was in The Social Network. I don't even know if you even remember.
I saw that like when I was going through research. I don't remember who she was though.
She's in there very little. It's literally, I think it's
a college girl or something.
It's his girlfriend. It's the girl that he talks to. That like he's
in the opening scene.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's it.
Shoot,
she's barely in it, and then she like the next year gets to be in this movie. So I guess for whatever reason, I guess like Fincher liked her and offered the role. I mean, apparently, a lot of people auditioned for it, but
yeah, I heard. Yeah, there was a long list. There was like Scarlett Johansson and Jennifer Lawrence, and there was a whole bunch of names, but. Yeah, ended up
seems so strange now in retrospect with those people being in it.
Yeah, I remember reading like it's kind of gross to say, but like this is what I read was that like apparently Scarlett Johansson she didn't get the role because they thought she was like too sexy. So like during the assault scenes, people would just kind of be like focused on like naked Scarlett Johansson and not like the horrible thing that's happening in the scene.
Yeah. It would have been a weird contrast too, because like Scarlett Johansson would have been in like Marvel and that at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be seriously massive contrast. Jesus.
But yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting to think about. It's always interesting to think about different castings, but specifically with this in the context of this movie, it's like it's very. You almost need an unknown because then it's not as distracting.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that aspect. Like the people saying that is kind of it's kind of weird, but I think it's more distracting when it's a character you know. Like I wasn't really familiar with this actor that much. Versus like if you see like an established actor, that becomes way too distracting. I feel like.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know if you have any other parts on the Filmmies.
No, that's
that
our
wraps
MVP.
up the Filmmies this week. We got one certified
6 man.
Certified
Pernilla,
6 man.
Pernilla. Nice work.
What were we gonna say?
Pernilla Blomqvist.
Yeah, no, I didn't know how to pronounce her last. I didn't want to butcher it, but shout out to you for going through with it.
Blomqvist. I mean, even Michael, we've been saying Michael, but it's like Mikael or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that too. I was like, you said Michael, so I'm like, all right, we're going with Michael. I'm not gonna try to keep on pronouncing it, but we're going with it. But we're back. I apologize for all the coughing that maybe if you're listening to this, you were here, and I wasn't in this last week because I had the flu, still kind of recovering from it. The cough's still here a little bit, but we back, and we got certified. It's always good to come back to that.
Hell yeah.
If you want to join the conversation, you could follow us on social media, on Instagram or on TikTok at the Film Room Pod. We're also on Reddit at the Film Room Pod. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify, on Apple. You can watch us on YouTube at the Film Room Podcast. And how many dragon tattoo stars should they give if they want to leave?
5 dragon tattoos, man. Leviticus 5-star review.
And if you do leave a review, we'll read on the podcast. We love hearing back from the film family. We love reading, responding to comments, anything, YouTube comments, whatever it is. We appreciate everyone that listens and contributes to the show. Do you have any final words, Scott? Any final thoughts?
Excited for Project Hail Mary next week. Say that.
Yeah, no, me too. It's like the beginning of the say beginning of the blockbuster summer season. It's a little early. It's usually a little more Mayish, I guess. But that's
Yeah.
probably the biggest movie to drop of this year so far.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's starting the biggest of like the biggest movie. Man, yeah, I don't know. We're not. It's a whole debate to get into. I
Nah.
started looking at the list of like what's the big movies. But with that being said, remember that you will be investigating thieves, misers, bullies, the most detestable collection of people that you will ever meet. But that is not the film family.
No. We're the best.
And peace out. We're the best.
Peace out.